Hello, my name is Charles Irvin, and I will be presenting Derek Adams. Derek Adams was born in 1970 in Baltimore, Maryland. He grew up surrounded by urban and African American culture, and from a young age, he developed a love for cartoons, graphic designs, and comic books. And he also, obviously, he had a penchant for art. So the two things went together, and you can see how comic books and cartoons really influence his art to this day. Um, he studied at the Pratt Institute in New York and later earned a master's in fine arts from Columbia University. It was at Columbia University where he began to focus more deeply on how art could explore the black identity in everyday life. As a fully realized artist, he then became interested in how black people were represented in American media or by art history, most times depicted in struggle or trauma, versus how he wanted to depict us in our casual leisure joy or rest times, like times where we are happy or having high imagination. He wanted to really go against the grain, and he often used colorful, bright colors or sharp, flattened shapes to challenge the stereotypes about how black people were represented in the media. He started producing his work during a lot of time where artists were questioning their stories being told in museums and galleries. He put out his artwork to reclaim the space for African American narratives and push out a different a narrative than struggle or trauma. These are his exhibitions over the last 5 years, but I found work that dates all the way back to 2015 in New Jersey. This is one from this artwork right here is from one of his exhibitions, Situation Comedy, which is also my favorite exhibition that he does. And from here on, I'm going to be presenting you 5 pieces of work from each exhibition, not including, getting the bag, which, getting the bag refers to getting money, and it's also African American lingo. How he does it, right? His main techniques are collaging and acrylic painting. He also does sculpture. Those are I really like his sculptures too. But first thing he'll do is he begins with a theme often centered around leisure or rest or black expression in African American communities, and he gets like visual references from magazines or any type of media he can really find, or even his own personal experiences, and then he sketches it out, arranges shapes, and just builds it piece by piece. He uses a lot of acrylic paint, using high contrast and bright colors to make his his art really pop. Because that's the whole point. He wants his art to stand out. He's going against the grain by instead of painting trauma, he wants to paint happiness and colorful days. His other main technique, collaging, is where he just cuts and layers papers to pattern it to different shapes to fit the paper. Uh, it's quite interesting how he does it too. Now I'll be presenting 5 pieces from his Come As You Are exhibition. One of my favorite exhibitions that he does. It's my second favorite, actually. Or actually, no, it'll be my third favorite. Because Recess is my second favorite. Um, I would say that this is a lot about not feeling shame in the black community. It's just being like come as you are. It's just being happy with your own desires and your own humor, and letting that be what it is instead of worrying about what other people are thinking. This is called Be the Table. As you can see, there's a bunch of cake on the table. It's two heads ready to eat, but the lady got first prize. This one is called Derek Adams. This is called Happy Place. This is one com my bad, a combination of his two favorite art forms, acrylic and collage fabric. Um, it talks about I'm not talks about it. Illustrates a man in a tub staying focused and thinking about thinking about things, maybe staying focused to a goal, but it depicts him in leisure, stuff consistent with his theme: leisure, relaxation, and imagination. This one is called Looky Loos, another acrylic and collage fabric. This one I feel talks about how the African American culture really puts out a lot of trends that a lot of people follow, and they set it up on display for other people to, you know, I don't want to say take, but use and push black culture to the media. And I think it's beautiful how we spread how black culture affects every culture. This one is called Looky Loose. It's I feel like this is talking about spreading black talent, spreading black culture. You see how you have the black man, the black woman in the car, and the black woman on the, I want to say that's a banjo, and you got the mountains literally singing as they watch and enjoying the black culture that's being spread and put on display. Then you got All Eyes on Me, which it depicts the artist Derek Adams and all the eyes watching him in different colors. Looking, I mean, that symbolically could talk about, different races, different colors, and all their eyes are on him as he tries to go against the grain, depicting African American culture. This one will be my favorite exhibition by him, called Situation Comedy. A lot of the comedy is in your face. Some of it's more nuanced, and even I don't really get it. But I feel like it just has my favorite pieces from him. You have Only Happy Thoughts. You got the lady on the bed sleeping, and the girl just with the Tootsie Rolls in her head, literally having like sweet thoughts, if that makes any sense. Sweet dreams. So I thought this was very funny and beautiful. You got Sweetening the Pot. You got Kool Aid, which is a African American staple or for a stereotype with all the Domino sugar. I don't typically know anything about Domino sugar, but I know that it's a very big stereotype that African Americans put sugar in their Kool Aid. So I thought this was funny. This one is actually my favorite piece because I feel like it's called Baked In, but you see there's an African American man in the pie with all the American flags around it, and I feel like it talks about how African American culture is built and baked into America. You have like slavery, which helped literally build this country from the ground up from African American labor and work. So I just thought this was a beautiful piece. I mean, and I guess the humor. You know what? I'm just gonna move on. This one's called Fantastic Voyage. You got the lady in a gourd or a container, and you got the ship in the background. So the Fantastic Voyage. I mean, obviously, we come from another land, African Americans, and we were dropped here. So it may be a little satire talking about Fantastic Voyage, but I love his use of the colors, the different shades of blue and brown to really make this piece really pop. This one's called Pothead. Another stereotype for African Americans is, the use of marijuana, and people who use marijuana a lot are called potheads. This series actually has 3 paintings in it: Pothead 1, Pothead 2, and Pothead 3. It's really just in your face, like one of those jokes that are just like not funny that it can be funny. And then you have Recess. Recess is one of my second favorite exhibition because it talks about unicorns, or it not talks about unicorns. It illustrates a black unicorn, and unicorns are symbolic for being different or being special in your space or being special in general. They're rare and they're beautiful, and this is about black people are different, but they're still beautiful in their own right. That's why it's a black unicorn. And I love when he sculpts, like in some of his art. I just really love his sculptures. So he'll paint it and then he sculpted it too for us to see. I don't want to say touch because you're not supposed to touch the art, but I thought that was beautiful too. And here's my works cited. A lot of my information came from the Derek Adams website itself, and the Gagosians.